Hey guys, my name is Orthodox, and welcome back to my channel. I'm excited to present an in-depth guide on Expert Ciella today. I'm going to list some timestamps in the comment section below to help you navigate through the video, as it will be a lengthy one. Please let me know which bosses you'd like me to cover next, and don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. I greatly appreciate everyone's support. Thanks again. Please enjoy.
Accept despair.
Alright, before we begin taking a look at the fight, I'd like to detail the requirements to clear the fight based on the time of recording. There are two different team compositions in co-op that clear the fight comfortably, and both compositions will require you to have your characters and worm prints fully augmented, and 50 nodes, 70 nodes if they have a mana spiral. For a full DPS team composition, the minimum requirements will be a high dragon tier 2 weapon, and a Tobias with a Freya. A good might range to consider is between 9 to 10k might, and do note that this composition is fastest to clear, but heavily relies on a single Freya to keep the team healthy, so 1 to 2 mistakes of your own or of a teammate's can end the run. I recommend this composition when you become more comfortable with the fight. Don't worry if you don't meet the requirements for that. Ciella can be cleared relatively comfortably with Chimera Tech Tier 2 weapons. This includes a more traditional composition, and for that you'll want a healer. Viable options will include Grace, Akasha, Cleo, and Lowen. A Max Unbound Chimera Tech Tier 2 as a minimum requirement. A 5-star dragon like Vayu or Ariel for DPS, but you can use Rock if you don't have anything else, the 4-star dragon. Freya for the Wind Healer, or the new Azazel and or Nidhogg for Shadow Healer. Popstar works well too if you're more comfortable with the fight, and a good might range to consider for this is 8 to 9k. The fight has quite a range of viable characters, so I'll list as many as I can to help give you an idea of whom you'd like to invest in. For the meta DPS characters, you have Hawk, Lin Yu, Silas, Ranzel, and Tobias, with notable mentions of Kirsty, Su Feng, Wedding Elisan, and Victor. And for healers, you have Lowen, Cleo, and Grace, with notable mentions for Akasha. Alright, now that we've talked about viable characters and team compositions, let's talk about Ciella, her move kit, and how to defeat her. Ciella brings a unique affliction known as vulnerability to the table. This is applied every time she strikes an adventurer, and it lowers the defensive totals. It can stack, and it's important not to take too many hits, otherwise the damage will continue to ramp and it will end the run. Additionally, like all agito, she can inflict 2 additional status afflictions. In her case, it's Bog and Freeze. Let's start by breaking down her human form attacks. The first attack that she will cast is an AoE Blast. This has no name, however the tells is that she has a thinking animation for about 1.5 seconds right before the blast. It helps to have a healer to have a defensive skill available to block and tank, but it's not necessary. If your DPS is too low, she will do a double AoE blast later on in the fight after Frigid Beam, which will be a match ender for full DPS teams. If this is the case, consider running 3 DPS and a healer to help tank and survive this. A few moments after Ciella uses her AoE burst, she'll use a skill called Arrows from Above. The tells for this skill is that she'll look up into the sky and she'll fire. This targets all players with multiple red circles, and it can be iframed by medium to long skill animations such as Hawk's Skill 1, Lowen's Skill 1, Cleo's Skill 1, and Ranzel's Skill 1. Otherwise, it can be simply avoided by rolling about 2 or 3 times, or moving along the outside of the map. The next skill that Ciella will use is Rebounding Arrows. Note, this skill targets the farthest player, and fires 4 slow-moving arrows that are iframeable. These arrows also bounce off the outskirts of the map, so do be aware of that. However, if Ciella is standing in the center of the map when she fires the arrows, ranged characters simply need to stand in front of her and at about a lance's distance, and they can completely ignore the attack, and melee characters simply have to roll behind Ciella before she fires the skill to continue DPSing. After Ciella performs her first rebounding arrows, she will perform a dash into spin attack next. This also targets the furthest player. She will always spin after that dash, and if the team's DPS is on point, she will follow up with Summon Crystal Arrow. If not, she'll fire 1 or 2 charged blasts, This targets the farthest player as well, and it can be iframed or rolled away. It's very similar in nature to High Mercury's Water Spit attacks. As I stated previously, if your team's DPS is on point, she will immediately use Summon Crystal Arrow as the next attack after the spin from her dash. However, she will also use Summon Crystal Arrow after the Charge Blast if your DPS is on the lower side. This attack targets all players, and it is a purple circle that will appear beneath everyone. You can simply roll once to get out of the attack, but the best strategy to dealing with this move is having everyone group after she dashes and before the spin. That way, when the crystal arrows comes down, they're all collected together, and your DPS units can quickly clear out those crystal arrows. Crystal arrows that are left unattended will be destroyed by Frigid Beam and fire additional projectiles that will be difficult for the team to deal with. Additionally, destroyed crystal arrows will fill the Dragon Gauge for all players. After Summon Crystal Arrows, Ciella will quickly reposition herself to the center of the map before she does a second set of rebounding arrows. At this time, you'll want to use your team's help to destroy all of the crystal arrows because Frigid Beam is the next move on her list. Once Ciella gets into the center, this move will start firing a single ice beam at the 7 o'clock position and wrap itself around clockwise. It is fairly slow, but in order to best dodge the attack, you're going to want to stand south of Ciella and wrap around clockwise to the 11 or 12 o'clock position. Be careful to pay attention to any crystal arrows that have not been destroyed, as they will fire additional projectiles when struck by the Frigid Beam. If your team's DPS continues to stay high, she will immediately use the skill Mist Veil after Frigid Beam. However, do note that if your team's DPS is lower, or you're running the traditional healer comp, it's possible that Ciella will attempt to use the 2 AoE blasts after Frigid Beam. As a healer, it's important to have your heals ready or any defensive skills available to help the team survive, as Ciella will then enter her next skill, Mist Veil. When Ciella is ready to use Mist Veil, she will run to the 1 o'clock position on the map and turn invisible and invulnerable. Afterwards, she'll run a full clockwise circle around the map and reappear, firing a massive purple AoE strike. In order to simply avoid this attack, all players simply need to stand farther north in the 1 o'clock position. This is also a good opportunity for players to use dragon forms such as Vayu to easily activate his skill 1 when she reappears and dragon tank the purple attack. She will then perform a dash and spin after this move and fire off rebounding arrows and additionally charge blasts, all of which is iframeable. Typically at this time, 4 DPS comps have cleared her human form, and healer comps take just a little bit longer. After Ciella's human form is defeated, she will run to the center of the map to awaken her agito form. Do note that when she awakens her agito form, she also resets her affliction resistances, resetting her poison as well as her sleep. This is important for Lin Yu players as they can now sleep her again with their S1. After Ciella has entered her awakened form, she will cast an AoE blast. This is similar to her human form, except she will fold her wings inward for about 1.5 seconds before she fires the attack. Healers, be ready for a defense buff and heal. And if you're playing in the 4 DPS team comp, Tobias needs to make sure that he's transformed into Freya and activates his healing skill while she is transforming. After the AoE blast, Ciella will activate her new skill, Karmic Shield. This applies a permanent 8% defense self buff and will stack each time she activates the skill. Note this can be removed through Ranzel's skill 1, Grace's Force Strike, and Cleo's Empowered Force Strike. If DPS is on the low side, after Karmic Shield, Ciella will fire rebounding arrows. Except this time, it'll fire 6 arrows instead of 4, and they will travel a farther distance. Same rules can be applied from the human form. Ranged characters want to stay at about a lance's distance, holding a skill ready if need to iframe, as well as melee units can stand behind Ciella to avoid the attack, and they may need to use a skill to iframe as well. If the team's DPS is on point, she will skip the first rebounding arrows and use Cryogenic Meteor. If not, she will use Cryogenic Meteor after the rebounding arrows. This attack is similar to the way that Crystal Arrows functions. A single roll is enough to get out of the way, and the meteors will become permanent ice chunks on the map that will despawn over time. These meteors are used to safely navigate the next set of attacks, called Floor of Despair. A massive purple indicator will appear, first indicating the direction of the wave. In order to stay safe, you must move behind one of the meteors on the field, as it will shield you from the wave. This attack will always happen twice, so stay on your toes. Also, please note, if you're using Lin Yu and you haven't slept Ciella's second form yet with your skill 1, it's in your best interest to hold your skill 1 throughout Floor of Despair. If you sleep Ciella during this phase, she will still use a second Floor of Despair, but the Cryogenic Meteors will not be available to shield your team, as they will have despawned by that time. After the second wave of Floor of Despair has been cast, Ciella will use her upgraded form, Bolts from Above. Now the attack is purple, so you must dodge, but if you're playing a DPS character, you can dragon tank through the attack by using skill 1 of your dragon 0.5 seconds after the purple circles appear. Otherwise, moving to the outside of the map and rotating clockwise or counterclockwise will also minimize the purple area, giving your teammates a better opportunity to survive this attack. Once you and your team have whittled Ciella down to about half health, she will once again activate her Mist Veil skill. It's a little different this time. She'll start in the north, and she'll always go south, and she'll either end up at the 4 or 8 o'clock position. Just like in her human form, in order to safely navigate this attack, you need to just stay behind her, or you can use your dragon form to tank the purple AoE when she reappears. As soon as Ciella reappears from her Mist Veil, just note that she will be using another AoE blast after she reappears, and when she gets a little bit weaker, she'll use her final attack, Frigid Beam. Now for this attack, the difference is that Ciella will once again move to the center of the arena, but she will fire 2 purple beams, one in the 3 o'clock position and one in the 9 o'clock position that will also rotate clockwise. It will inflict freeze if it hits. You can dragon tank through this, or you can simply roll clockwise with the beams to avoid them. Additional attacks she will use at this point is the dash into spin and the charge shot. There's not much change from human form, just note that both are slightly wider, and you can still iframe them. And just like that, you too are a master of the expert Ciella fight now. Congrats! I'll be sure to list a successful clear for the 4 DPS comp as well as the healer comp if you'd like to study more in depth for a few different runs that I've done. Thank you so much for watching. Remember to comment down below which video or guide you'd like to see next. Thank you so much, guys. Don't forget to like and subscribe.
Accept despair. We are agito. We are wings which unfurl in rejection of deceit. Hatred escalates. Sink into the abyss of despair.
Focus grows. Woodland spear. Time to go wild. Tornado bash.
Ready yourself. My hatred escalates. Typhoon fist.
Woodland spear.
My hatred escalates.
Tornado bash.
I will see you slain with the techniques of the paladin.
Inspiriting scent.
My hatred
Woodland
escalates.
storm wall.
Typhoon fist. Sink into the abyss of despair. Hopelessly pitiful.
Time to go wild.
Sorrow's requiem. Typhoon
Tornado bash.
I will see you slain with the
Time
techniques
to
of the
go
paladin.
wild.
My hatred escalates.
Tornado bash.
Disgusting. You understand nothing. Sink into the abyss of despair.
Inspiriting scent.
My
Woodland
hatred
spear.
escalates. Earnest
Tornado bash.
Typhoon fist.
Woodland spear. Storm wall. Tornado bash! Woodland spear!
I will see you slain with the techniques of the paladin. I will see you slain with the techniques of the paladin. My hatred escalates.
Inspiriting scent.
Sink into the
Tornado
abyss
bash.
of despair. Awaken, Agito.
Heaven's breath!
Pitiful. I will set you free now.
Storm wall!
Typhoon fist!
Tornado bash!
I will thrust you into the depths of despair.
Now we're cooking.
I will thrust you into the depths of despair. My hatred escalates. None can impede the cruel reality I bring.
Tornado bash! Storm wall!
Inspiriting
scent.
My hatred escalates. You will accomplish nothing. All is futility. I will purge your stale deception.
Tornado bash!
Typhoon fist!
Sorrow's requiem.
Eat this, chump!
My hatred escalates.
Tornado bash!
Typhoon fist!
My hatred escalates. I will purge your stale deception.
Howling burst! Woodland
This violence is justice, a hopeless jest.
Tornado bash!
Inspiriting scent. Sorrow's requiem. None can impede the cruel reality I bring.
Woodland spear!
Does hopelessness cloud your thoughts?
Typhoon fist!
Tornado
My
bash!
hatred escalates.
Storm wall!
Earnest prayer.
Woodland spear!
Typhoon fist!
Tornado bash! Time to go wild!
My hatred escalates. I will purge your stale deception.
Howling burst! Ha! Piece of cake!
Accept despair. Shall release you from your false justice.
Just wait. It's over.
Sink into the abyss of despair.
Move.
Woodland spear!
Move.
Hunter's creed. Savage heart.
Move.
Savage heart.
Move. Move.
Savage heart.
Over.
Savage heart.
Is that all you can offer? I must have more to spare.
Get this party started!
Woodland spear!
I will see you slain with the techniques of the paladin.
Hunter's creed.
Let's get this party started! Move.
Savage heart.
Sink into the abyss of despair. I grow dizzy with despair. You are truly pitiable.
Hunter's
Sink into the abyss of despair.
Over. It's over.
Hunter's creed. Woodland spear!
It's over.
Awaken, Agito.
Ancient Egypt.
Pitiful. I will set you free now.
It's over.
Woodland spear!
Does hopelessness cloud your thoughts?
Elder Cure. Did you miss me, everyone? Let's get this party started!
Hunter's creed. Woodland spear!
I will thrust you into the depths of despair. None can impede the cruel reality I bring. You will accomplish nothing. All is futility. Does hopelessness cloud your thoughts?
Just wait. Move.
Savage Hawk.
It's over. Move.
None can impede the cruel reality I bring.
You're going down.
Move. Just wait. Move. Elder Cure.
Savage Hawk.
Yo.
This violence is justice. A hopeless jest.
Hunter's Creed. Woodland Spear.
Sorry.
I will thrust you into the depths of despair. I will thrust you into the depths of despair.
Woodland Spear.
Does hopelessness cloud your thoughts?
Hunter's Creed.
So it comes to this, Ellison.
Again! Yes!
I would expect nothing less.
Accept despair. I shall release you from your false justice. Sink into the abyss of despair.
There. Hunter's Creed. Savage Hawk. Savage Hawk. There. Savage Hawk.
Hopelessly pitiful.
You're going down.
I will see you slain with the techniques of the paladin.
Hunter's Creed. Hunter's Creed. Savage Hawk.
Eternal grace.
There. Savage Hawk. Savage Hawk.
Disgusting. You understand nothing.
Eternal grace.
Sink into the abyss of despair.
Hunter's Creed. Hunter's Creed. Savage Hawk. You're going down. Savage Hawk. Savage Hawk.
Awaken, Agito. Pitiful. I will set you free now.
Hunter's Creed. Savage Hawk. You're going down. Savage Hawk. Savage Hawk.
I will thrust you into the depths of despair. You will accomplish nothing. All is futility. I will thrust you into the depths of despair. Does hopelessness cloud your thoughts? None can impede the cruel reality I bring.
Savage Hawk. You're going down. Hunter's Creed.
Eternal
Hunter's Creed. Savage Hawk.
I shall unshackle myself from this despair.
Eternal grace.
I will thrust you into the depths of despair.
Hunter's Creed.
I will thrust you into the depths of despair.
Eternal grace.
Savage Hawk. Hunter's Creed. Savage Hawk. Savage Hawk.
Good job. Thanks.
Victory is sweeter when shared.